Good morning. My name is Tammy, and I'd like to welcome you to Sofly's Unique Boutique. This is my small little corner of Berwick, Maine. Greetings. Where I show all my crafty things I can get my hands on to, such as cross-stitch quilting, etc. Basically about cross-stitch. So, if you are new here, thank you so much for joining me and pressing play. If you like what you see, please comment down below and do all the YouTubey things like liking, subscribing, hitting the little bell for notifications, so on and so forth. If you are a regular subscriber, thank you so much for coming back every week. I really enjoy and appreciate all your comments, all your support, and all the things that you lovely people do. Yesterday I tried my hand at a first time stitch with me. It wasn't a very long one because I was having a few technical difficulties, I guess. Not with the technology, but with the stitching itself. I did fix those little iffy mistakes that I made, but I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please comment or watch and comment. I'd really appreciate it. So let's get started, shall we? Okay, this past weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, was Gnome Frenzy for Sofly's Unique Boutique. We had a Sofly's Unique Boutique Gnome Frenzy. And for those of you who joined me, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Those who just kind of stitched what they wanted to stitch, hey, good for you. I hope you got a lot of stitches in, I really do. But anyway, so I did, let's see, how many have I done this week? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I worked on 13 different projects, and out of 7 of those 13 were new starts. And most of them were gnomes. Can you hold on 1 second? I forgot something. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. Alright, let's get started. And we'll start with the new things that I started. In no particular order, because it may take me a few minutes to find them. Okay. Alright. So, first of all, I want to thank Andy, the Crow Stitcher, for doing her little Halloween gnome in a cup stitch along. It's so cute. It's so cute. And for giggles, I tried to find it on Etsy and I couldn't find it, but you know what? That's okay. It's okay. But it was absolutely adorable, and while she was stitching on that, I think I was stitching on one of my gnomes. I'm not quite sure which gnome I was, it's not there, excuse me, which gnome I was stitching on, but I was stitching on one of them. And as soon as I can find the ones that I'm looking for, we'll be good to go. Okay. Alright, this is one of the first ones I did. This is one of the ones that she said she'd like. It's called the Chamomile Gnome. And this one I started on May 24th. I'm doing it on an 18 count Title Ada, and I'm using all the call for DMC. And this is Chamomile Tea Gnome from Favorite Gnome. And I got 514 stitches, and out of 5,502. And I am at 9.34%. My goal on this one is 2,500. And this is how much I got done. Nose is in part of the hat. I'm not sure if I'm going to go up and continue on the hat or if I'm going to go down and work on the body. But now I have to set up a gnome rotation. So let's say those words, but I did. Alright, the next one I worked on. Aha. This one's my favorite. This one's really my favorite. I think maybe this was the one I was working on when I was watching Andy's gnome stitch along. This is called the Chocolate Gnome. I absolutely love it. And I am doing this on, started this on May 25th, which was Sunday. I'm stitching it on an 18 count Earthen Ada, and I'm using all the called for DMC. Out of 4,612 stitches, I got 400 completed, and I am at 8.67%, and my goal for this one is 2,500. The threads are over here. Okay. And this is where I am. Gotta get the noses in. I'm telling ya. No nose, it doesn't look right. That's the only part of the face that a gnome has, is the nose. And then I worked on, or started, on May 27th, 2025, which was Tuesday, on an 18 count Vintage Country Mocha. I worked on the Turkey Gnome, and these are all by Favorite Gnome, or cutebroidery.com. And there's the Turkey Gnome. He's so cute. And out of 7,946 stitches, I have completed 413, and I am at 5.20%, and the goal for this is 2,500. And I'm using all the called for colors. This looks so much better in person. But that's okay. So those are just a few of the gnomes that I have done. So we did chamomile, turkey, chocolate. And then oh, that's the box. We didn't work on that one. Okay, I think this was the ones we worked on. Oh yes. Then the one that started off my weekend. Was Lucky Gnome. This is also my favorite gnome, or cute broderie. I started him on May 23rd, which was Friday. He is on an 18 count fossil Ada, and out of 5,851, I've gotten 213 complete. My goal is 2,500, and I am at 3.64%. I think it goes this way. I'm not sure. There's my gnome. So he will be coming back out at some point. As soon as I'm able to set up a rotation for him. Or a rotation for all my gnomes, because I have more that I want to start. Then I started, this is what I spun for, Jardin Prive, the Spring Quaker. And I got 228 stitches done on this. There's a card in here somewhere. Started this on May 27th, doing it on an 18 count Havisham. I'm using Sulky 420, and my goal is 3,000 stitches. Out of those 3,000 stitches, I got 228. And this is an absolute joy to work on. Even though I only have a little tiny bit in. But the Havisham is kind of a cream with purple accents, and the 420 is kind of a camel color. So there is that. And I'm going to be setting up a rotation for all my seasonal as well as my gnomes. I'm not quite sure how that's going to go down yet, but we will figure something out. Okay. Alright. The other thing I started, and I don't have a picture for this one, but this is from Box and Fox, and it's the Autumn Gnome, and I started this on the 25th, and I'm using the other part of the 18 count earthen. I'm using the called for. My goal is 2,500 stitches, and out of the 2,500 stitches I got 293. I'm working off a paper pattern, so. But this is how far I got. So I got part of the hat done, I got the nose done, and I got the beard, starting the beard. So we will be seeing him again. So there's that one. And then the last new start that I did was the tea gnome. This one is from Soda Stitch. And believe it or not, I mean, this one's gonna go quick. Very quick. If I can find it. But first tea. And there he is. Can't see him very well, but that's the one. I'm doing this on only used 2 colors so far. Black and red, or 3801. This is the tea gnome. It's from Soda Stitch. I started this on the 25th. I'm doing it on an 18 count apple green beater that I dyed myself. Out of 4,737 stitches, I completed 305. My goal for this is 2,500, and I am at 6.44%. And this was, if I'm lucky, a couple hours of work. It did not take very long. So I got this little hat, and I started the word, there's this little hat there, and then I started the word tea. And these colors are just popping on this fabric. So, there is that. So those are all the new things, the new projects. Well, like I said, I've got to come up with some sort of rotation for my seasonals and all my seasonals, and I just purchased a few more the other day, yesterday. And my gnomes. The tea gnome was also for the letter T. I did not complete my words this month. So I'm taking a break from my words, and I'm trying some new challenges. I've been doing the words for a while, and as much as I enjoy them, the stitch by color I am still continuing to do. So for June, the color is gold, and it's any summer stitch, any summer sampler, any summer gnome, any summer full coverage, you know, anything that has to do with activities in the summertime or summer themselves. So yeah, and I will put that event up on my Facebook. So, alright, now what did I work on other than just gnomes? Because I did work on other things, but alright, so this being the second to last day before before the end of May, because it's the 30th. Tomorrow I am going to work on my deer and owl, and I'll show you that to you in a little bit, because I started that December 31st, 2024. So I'm trying to work on it the 31st of every month that has 31 days. plus something spooky. So this was my full coverage for this month, which is Harry Potter sampler, which I started as a snow day sampler. This is a small full coverage, but it is still full coverage. Oh, that's the best we're going to get, I guess. There we go. So, there's that. And I finished up the block that I started last week. And here's Harry. So I finished up here, started down here. I still have to do the Patronus. I think I'm going to be doing that last, because what I want to do is I want to get this completed, not completely filled in, but the orange is done, and then do the whites in grays. So I finished this up, and on that I got 260 stitches. So my grand total, and I have been counting this since I started, I just started it on December 5th, and I'm stitching it on an 18 count easy guide. And I'm using the called for DMC. And my goals were 1,000 stitches every time I picked it up. But since every time it snowed, hence snow day stitch, I decided I'd get more than 1,000. I would get 4,400 a pop. So my grand total of completed stitches, well, to finish it, it's going to take 5,760 stitches. Out of that, I've got 3,899, and I am at 67.69% complete. And this is, I'm still going to pick it up once a month or once a week and try to finish it. And then I'm going to move on to another one. And then when I get that one finished, move on to the next one. Those are concrete goals in my head. Okay. Then I worked on my fox. Carriage house samplings, cottage garden samplings, sorry, get those two confused, but I did work on my fox, and I started this is Fox Year in the Woods #1, and I'm doing all winter, I'm going to do all spring, summer, and end with fall. Started this on May 15th. 2025. I'm doing it on an 18 count denim dyed Ada that I did myself. I'm using all the called for DMC, and at this point in time I have 540 stitches. And my goal for this is 1,500. So far I have completed 960. And this is what I completed. I've got the A-frame almost done. Right here. I'm going to work on a tree here, a few snowflakes, and then I can start the fox over here. That's what I'm really looking forward to. Starting that fox. So I got 210 stitches completed on that one. So I think I did pretty good. I was having a hard time getting into it, but once I did, it was Okay, maybe I put them in front here. Yes, I did. Okay. Then, when I was doing my Stitch With Me yesterday, I decided to use this one, Snort Stack, and I decided I was going to start the pig. Well, like I said, I did make a few mistakes, so that's what I finished up last night. I put in more of the border. I finished up this part of the flower. I worked on the body of the pig, plus putting in those little decals or these little motifs on top of the pig. I still have to get his eyes and cheeks in, or his eye in. I put in his nose, his ear, the pink in his ear, and I just have to, when I get down here a little ways on the behind the pig, I can put in his tail. So they're very cute pigs. Kind of reminds me of the Three Little Pigs, the fairy tale story. So he will get focused on because he is slated for finish. Alright, and then I might have goofed on a couple of things. So, if I did, I'm sorry. I'm not going to show you pictures of these because the pictures don't come out very well. But I worked on the Thanksgiving Quaker. I didn't get very much in, but I did work on it. Restarted this on April 23rd, 2025. This is from Tinsel Cross Stitch on Etsy. I'm using a 25 count potato Lagana, and I'm doing it 1/1. I'm using Dying for Sass, Old Beeble, and my goal is 2,000 stitches. Out of 16,105, I have completed 1,327 stitches, and I am at 8.24%. Here we are. So as you can see, I'm working on the top leaves. I'm off by one. Not one stitch, one whole leaf. So I had to come back over here and add in one for the bottom and one for the top. So I'll have the right amount. And that's all I really worked on, and I have to get back to that one. So that is a Motif Monday project. And then, let's deep sea. And this one is Christmas. So I didn't work on either one of those. Christmas, it's staying in this bag for a little bit. Yes, definitely. Okay. This one is the Nevermore Quaker by Lila Studios, or Lila Studios. I started this on my dad's birthday, the 17th of March, 2025. I'm doing a 25 count light stormy night 1/1, and I'm using the Cottage floss. My goal for this one is 3,000 stitches. So far, out of 15,443 stitches, I am at 1,260, and I don't know if I'm going to have enough room. we're going to pray. And even if I don't have that much of a border, we're going to continue on because I'm not starting this over. I am at 8.16%. I have 2 more of these. I need to go this way. I'm not sure if I'm going to have enough room. Hoping I do. But this is how far I've gotten. I did a grand total of 267 stitches on this one. And I'm trying to get that top done. So that's that one. The next one I did, when I did try to do my very first, when I used my phone to record a FlossTube extra, or a Stitch With Me, wouldn't download. I gotta get my phone looked at because there's no reason it shouldn't download. So I worked on the Halloween Quaker from Halloween Quaker number 3 from Tinsel cross stitch. Started this on May 12th, 2025. I'm using 25 count vintage stormy clouds, and I'm using $37.99. And my goal for this is 2,500 stitches. Now, there's 10,133 stitches total, and out of that, I've got 927 complete, and I am at 9.15%. I need to cross off a few things, but here we are. I finished this outline, and I worked up here on this motif. Now, since I'm not doing the letters right now, or my stitcher words, I am going to be joining Laura from Stitching by the Shore in her I Spy challenge for June, and one of the prompts is a large motif. I think I'm pretty sure I can find a couple of these that have large motifs, because that's mostly what Quakers are, and where the required amount of stitches is 200. Then I'm pretty sure I can do that. So that is it on my stitching, on the stitching front. But so I got 477 stitches on my Halloween Quaker 3. I got 267 on Nevermore Quaker, and 275 on the Snort Stack, and I got 148 on my Thanksgiving Quaker. So let me show you a couple of things that I have purchased, as far as just charts and floss, and hopefully my floss for one of these is on its way and will be here today. No. Alright, so since we're coming on June, and June is the 6th month, so half the year is over, I have changed up my plans a bit again. As you heard earlier, I am not doing the stitch words for this month. I've put a hold on that for right now. Am I going to come back to it? Yes. But I figure half the year can be stitch a word, and then the other half of the year can be something different. And, well, let's go with this. This is the spring sampler from Soda Stitches. Soda Stitch. I got all 4 of them. I got spring, summer, autumn, and winter. I'm not going to show you them all. Since I could not find the same, Halloween gnome that Andy did, this is the Halloween pumpkin gnome. And it is very cute. I cannot remember where I got it from now. And this one I got from Sana Coswell. This is called the Purple Moon Butterfly. That one I'm very much looking forward to. And I also got this Haunted House. So, and there were a few others that I picked up, but this is the one I wanted to start. It's called the Rose Gnome. But didn't get there. Didn't have the stuff to start with, so let's hope. Alright, now, my plans. I think I'm going crazy. We already know this, but that's okay. I am going to work on I Spy. And I'm just going to, instead of planning out what, I have the prompts written down, but instead of planning out what I want to do, I'm just going to look at the prompt and pick a whip. Hello, we have a visitor. Hello, Miss Patches Toes. You gonna say hi to the peoples? Yes. Such a good girl. So yeah. So instead of, planning everything out like I have been, I'm just gonna go with the flow. We'll see how that works. So the prompts for her June I Spy are something squishy. I'll have to think about that one. Something with a scallop-shaped design. Something that brings you peace, or a peaceful stitch. Something that starts with a U. A bee. A large motif. Pretty sure I can find something. Something in a dad joke. I'm gonna have to look up dad jokes to see what I got. Something purple. I mean, really? Something you do in the summer or a summer activity. And a bug that you could see at a picnic. Okay, those are all easy enough. So, every 1,000 stitches I get now, I did put 100, but I still could do 100. We'll see. We'll see. I might change it up. I don't know. But for right now, every 1,000 stitches I do, I'm going to give myself $2. Or 2 bobbins. Okay. So, I have decided that the month of June and July look like they're going to be temperature stitching again. Because I'm not doing the letters, so I should be able to do it no problem. It's just 100 stitches a day on a different project every day. So if the temperature comes up 0, then I will be working on, she's back. Hi. Hello. I will be working on this one. If I can find it. It's right up here. I think. Yes. So if, you know, say it's 70 degrees out. Quick Stitch Alice will come out and it'll get 100 stitches. And believe it or not, with the amount of confetti that's in that, it's going to take a bit. So my starting point is right there. So once this goes into a hoop, it's going to stay in the hoop the whole month, because next month in July the whips are going to change. If I don't have 1,000 on each of them, or if I only have a couple hundred on each of them, I'm just going to total it up for the month, and that's what it's going to look like. Because I don't want to continue to work on the same thing over and over and over. That's part of the reason why I didn't like the temperature stitching to begin with, because it took forever sometimes with some of the whips. And if I don't work on this one at all for June, then I'll work on it for a different month. Okay. Number 1 is going to be come on, where are you? Number 1 is going to be Soft Wookie. Now for my full coverages, I do know I need to make cards. And I will do that at some point. So this is Soft Wookie. Did I make a card for this one? I did. And I restarted this one on May 4th, 2025. For Star Wars Day. And maybe I'll pull it out every 4th of the month. Who knows? I'm stitching it on an 18 count silver moon. I'm using all the called for DMC, and my goal is 1,000 stitches. Well, my ultimate goal is to finish, but for now, and this is my starting point. Just working on the Wookiee. So every time that the number 1 comes up, 71, 81, 91, 101, for the month of June, Soft Wookiee will be worked on. Okay. Number 3. I don't have a picture of this one either. Is going to be the Spring Quaker. The Spring Quaker is from Goffin Designs on Etsy. I started this on April 25th, 2025. I'm stitching this on a 28 count whisper, 1/1, and I'm using DMC 699. My goal for this is 2,000, and out of 2,000 I have 1,338 stitches complete. And this is what it looks like. So every time 53, 63, 73. Every time that temperature ends with a 3, this will come out. And it'll get 100 stitches, if not more. We're going to start with 100. Okay. Now, the next one, and I got to get it its own bag, and I'll do that when I'm done here. Is the turkey gnome. It's chocolate. Turkey. Well, you already saw it, so all I'm going to do is show you my starting point. So 74, 84, 94, 54. This will get 100 stitches. And then after I take this off July, I'll figure out a rotation. Take them out once a week. You know, start with 4. So on and so forth. Not quite sure yet. Or maybe do a day out of the week where I do, you know, a couple hundred stitches on each gnome. Alright, after that is the native gobbles. So the native gobbles comes up if it's 75, 85, 95, so on and so forth. Here is the native gobbles. This is by RATM. Did I make the card up for this one? Nope, got to. So this is the native gobbles. I think I started this on my parents' anniversary. I think. Doing it on a modeled brown from Wicked and Whimsy on Etsy. And this is my starting point. And every time, and I did the temperature stitching for Frank and Elvira, and it worked great. So I'm hoping that this will work out too. Right. So there is that. Okay. And anytime that the temperature ends in a 6, I will be bringing out the March Quaker. This is from the Heart Needle Art by Wendy. It's the March Quaker. And trust me when I say this could use, you know, a couple hundred stitches. And there we are. So this is my starting point, so I will continue to work over here, and so on and so forth. And this will be starting on Sunday, June 1st. Alright, and then number 7 is, I'm just going to show you the picture. There's not much to see. But I've tried to put a couple full coverages on in all my temperature stitching as of late to get some completions on it. This way, this way. I think it's this way. No. Okay, where are you? Around here somewhere. So every time 77, 87, 97, 67, it will be Dobby. And that's a good thing because he needs some work. And then when anything with an 8 comes up, it would be Jardin Prive, Alice Snow Globe. I had to find out what the real translation is. And I started this on April 9th, 2025. It was a Wonderland Wednesday start. I'm stitching it on a Picture This Plus 18 count mint. And I'm using the called for DMC. And my goal was 100 stitches. So far I've got 310. And that's my starting point. I got her eyes in, I got her face in. There we go. So, anytime the number 8 shows up, it will be this one. And then last but not least, for number 9, Galaxy Flowers, which is this one. And this is my starting point. It's on 18 count white Ada. Did I make out a card for this one? Nope, I guess not. I need to do that. That's what it is. So, am I going to be doing, the perspective for the week? I don't know. Am I going to be doing just looking at the day and hoping for the best? Probably. So, these are everything, all my temperature stitching that I wrote down. Now, if I don't get 100, if I don't finish them all in the month of June, that's fine. We'll just move on to the ones in July. It'll be a whole different set. Okay. And then, I still have my Motif Mondays, my Wonderland Tuesdays, and my Full Coverage Fridays, plus I have Focus. Okay. So, for the month of June is Crow Stitcher does June Dog, which is you work on a long dog in the month of June. Well, I'm going to be working on my Queen of Hearts for the month of June. So here she is. That's what I'm going to be working on for June. I'm going to be working on my Harry Potter for my monthly full coverage, my full coverage for the month. And I'm going to be working on Snortsack as my focus whip. So what I've done is I've put a different whip. So there are 5 Mondays in June. So on June 2nd, I'm going to work on, which is Monday. These are all Mondays. These are motif Mondays. I'm going to be working on my Halloween Quaker 3, and I'm going to get 200 stitches in it, or more. The 9th, which is another Monday, I will be working on the Halloween Quaker from Lila Studios. I don't know why I'm getting Lola Crow and Lila Studios mixed up, but I am. So yeah. So that's 200 stitches. One of those motifs will not even. And then on the 16th, I will be hauling out my Silla Witches. By Teresa Koga. And I am doing this in 3799 and I think 14. And I'm doing it on an 18 count Cyprian. And you guys haven't seen this one in a while, but I'm going to try to get 200 plus stitches on this. It's been in timeout for way too long. It needs to come out of timeout and play. That's all I know. And then on the 23rd, we'll be doing the April Quaker, 200 stitches. And then on the 30th, I will pick whatever I want. And I'll be getting 200 stitches in that. Okay, for the Wednesdays for the month of June, which in my world is Wonderland Wednesday, we're going to be working on Alice in the Lee pairs, Alice's Mad Plant, my Quick Stitch Alice, and my Fairy Rabbit. And 3 out of 4 are full coverage. And those are 200 stitches a piece. Alright, and then for the full coverage Friday on June 6th, it'll be Dobby. On the Friday the 13th in June will be the Woodcut Raven number 2. I thought that was appropriate. On January 20th, it'll be Noel. And on the 27th, I will be starting the Coffee Abstract if I don't start it sooner. That's from Box and Fox. And those are 400 stitches a piece. Or more. So, I already told you the focus is, my goals for the month are 500 stitches per whip. So we have the Fox, we have the Summer Quaker by Jardin Prive, which would be a new one. We have Summer Refreshes, which is Summer House Stitchworks. If I do any new starts, which there is 1 or 2 that I might want to do, those get 2,500 stitches to start. If the goal doesn't get completed that day, that's fine. But I have a Summer Sampler, and I have a Summer Gnome. And yes, I'm still going on with the gnomes. So, I'm thinking the weekend of the 21st, the 22nd, the 23rd, and the 24th of June is going to be my, whatever weekend. My theme weekend. That's what we're calling them. So, I have a couple ideas running through my head, and I will put up a poll after June 1st. I'll give you a couple weeks to vote, and then we'll take it from there. But some of the ideas that are running through my head is a wacky weekend, which will be, stitching on silly stuff. Like I did when Laura, Stitching by the Shore, said stitch on something silly. I used the Cheshire Cat from Miss Pagani because I thought it was kind of silly. He had a silly looking look on his face. So yeah, that's what I did there. So yeah, something like that. Or Jukebox June weekend, which is you pick a bunch of songs, you match the song up to the whip, and you can either do 200 or say the song is 306 minutes. So you do 3 minutes, 6 seconds. So you decide to do 306 stitches. Or you could do 3 hours and 6 minutes. So yeah. Or maybe no, see, I don't do fancy ladies. I don't. I have maybe 2. One is monochromatic and the other one is Bella Filipina. Yes, I have a Bella Filipina, believe it or not, people. I do. So, doing, or any kind of fancy stitching. It doesn't have to be the fancy ladies. It could be teacups. It could be, filigree frames. It could be things of that nature. Fancy frenzy. Or we could do, like an animal. I've got all these ideas in my head and trying to figure out the best one. So, we'll see. Do I plan on doing more stitch with means? Yes. Am I going to do them weekly? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how it goes. So, take it from there. I might do, change it up, and instead of, most people when they do a stitch with me, they do full coverage. I might not want to do full coverage. I might want to do something else, like the little animals. I don't know. So, we are going to finish this up by spinning the wheel and picking a finish. Yes, I know I still have the pigs, but this way you see what gets to be finished before, So, we're going to find the tiny decisions wheels. Okay. So, you start. Mid-century garden. Ooh, I know which one that is. Well, it's covered up right now, but I'll pause and then find it. And then I have my cute little bowl here that has all my finishes. And we're going to work on summer refreshes. Perfect! There it is. Alright. So, give me 1 second. I will find both of those and then we'll take it from there. Okay, I found them. Took me a minute, but I found them. So the new start will be, this one is from Hands On Designs, and it's the mid-century gardens. It's number 2. I don't know if I can get the other 2. I'll check. And I have all the colors for this. And it's only 61 by 61. So I'm not doing it on 32 count. Not happening. And then this is my starting point for summer refreshes. So I really don't have that much left to do on this one. And here it is. I only have to do the green, one more line of green, one more line of gray, and then the red. So that'll be good. Get that one done out of the way. So those will be the things that I work on, and summer refreshes I planned on working on anyway because of the month. So yeah. Done now. Alright everyone, that's it. That's all I got. So I hope you have lots and lots of plans for June, and you keep on stitching on, everybody. See you later. Bye.